That's also when we got pulled over by a cop who threatened to arrest us, but yada, yada, yada. He was having whiskey with us 5 days later when we got back to Vegas. So, if you watch my channel, if you're familiar with me, I have a company called Adventure Drives that does bucket list travel for car people. So, you get to do all these amazing driving adventures all over the world. One of the aspects of the company is we do a la carte. So, we'll do a private event for somebody. There was a guy who wanted to have a private birthday party for him and his friends in Vegas. Luckily, I just happened to be one of the friends, so I was able to enjoy that. We rented a bunch of exotic cars, and he was bringing his LaFerrari. Sadly, the LaFerrari Aperta broke on day one, so he ended up driving some of the rental cars with the rest of us. So the idea behind the trip was we were going to do a loop of Vegas for his birthday, and this is probably the closest I'll ever have to like a dream birthday trip because this guy has a ton of money and he was just out to have a good time. He was picking up everybody's tab, everybody was flying in first class. We had a great time. We did kayaking on the Colorado River. We went to Route 66, went down to Oatman. We ended up driving over through Flagstaff. We had like 2.5 inches of snow. We got this caravan of exotic cars driving through like 2 inches of snow, 620Rs on like race tires. And I was like, wow, you know what? I know this guy's got a lot of money, but I wouldn't want to be the guy driving a $5 million LaFerrari Aperta in 2 inches of snow through the middle of Arizona. So luckily we got to Sedona from there, ended up making our way over to like Horseshoe Bend, all the way over into Zion National Park and then back to Vegas. But if that wasn't a week of weeks, I couldn't tell you. That's also when we got pulled over by a cop who threatened to arrest us, but yada, yada, yada. He was having whiskey with us 5 days later when we got back to Vegas. So that was truly one for the history books. However, the one car that we were driving ended up getting a lot of rock chips on it. And there was a McLaren 620R, which was new. We rented it from a company called Diplomat in Las Vegas. Driving through Utah, there's no way to avoid it. Like you hear it, you're like 20 car lengths behind the car in front of you. All you hear is tick, 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 all over the front of your car. Some of the cars had clear brought, this one did not. And we ended up looking at it, whoop, that's going to need a respray on the front. I think we cracked the windshield or like got a rock chip on the windshield, which I'm okay with it being replaced. But we got the rock chips all over the front. And we also had two curbed wheels from, I think, next to the gas pumps. So we got two curbed wheels, rock chips on the front. Mechanically and everything like that, car was perfectly fine. No vibration in the wheel even after the curbed wheels. But the rental car agency decided that it was prudent to come after me. Now, there's charges on all the cars. I think I gave them like $30,000 in like fix-its. But the McLaren is the one where they came at me with a $100,000 repair estimate. I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, $100,000 for what? Rock chips just respray the front. I get the windshield is $5,000, whatever it is. But the rock chips, just respray it and you're done. And oh, no, carbon fiber, all has to be replaced and this and that. And I was like, all right, like, look, guy, I'm in the business. I know, like, and you know, you started your business because of me. You told me. So for you to try to then think that you know better than I am, I'm like, I'm not giving you $100,000 for rock chips. I paid you for everything else. Just I'll buy the car off you. Right? It's new. It's got 2,000 miles, maybe 3,000 miles on it now. I'll give you whatever you paid for it. With MSRP is 270, 300. I'll write you a check for $300,000. I'll fix it for the $5,000 and I'll turn around and sell it. Whether I lose 20 or 30 grand, so be it. But at least I'm not getting taken for 100. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that. We already fixed the car. I'm like, wait a second. It's 2021. We're like mid-COVID. There's part shortages all over the place. I can't get anything. And you were able to get half of a McLaren in carbon fiber and get it repaired inside 2 weeks. I'm like, I need to see the old parts. Like if I'm paying for them, I'll write you the check for 100 grand, but you got to give me all those old parts back so I can then turn around and sell them. I'll refinish the wheels. I'm not going to give you $8,000 for wheels. I'll refinish the wheels. I'll sell them. I have to be able to recoup this. I'm not trying to screw you, but I am trying to like minimize how much you're screwing me. Fast forward. Oh, here's the number for the body shop. Body shop says, oh, we didn't take that car apart. Okay, well now we're getting somewhere. So I'm like, look, if this guy wants to push it, the only thing I can do here is you screw me, it's egg on my face. You screw my insurance company, that's insurance fraud. So I call up my insurance company. They're like, look, I was driving a car, got rock chips, which, believe it or not, even at $100,000, if they were going to pay it, is a comprehensive claim, not a collision claim, because that's just like happens, right? Like you got rock chips, so like we'll pay it. So if it was $5,000 or whatever, it doesn't fall under. So I don't know how that would have impacted me had this claim actually stuck with a payout. But I told the adjuster, I'm like, look, I think this is fraud. Yes, we got rock chips on the car, but this guy claims he repaired it. He didn't. Like, you can pay for this repair, but make sure all of those parts are confirmed that they paid. Look for receipts, look for everything. Make sure they're not photoshopped. Like, there's 100 things that could possibly go wrong here that I'm nervous about. But, like, if this guy wants to commit insurance fraud, so be it. Sure enough, claim ended up closing 6 or 8 months later without payout because they just ghosted the insurance company because they knew I had them pinned against the wall. You can't defraud people, and that's one of these common issues that rental car companies like live for, because they need money, right? A lot of rental car companies and a lot of people that go into renting cars don't really know how to do it, but they know it's easy money to charge an insurance company $50,000 for a repair and then spend $5,000 to fix it. With this situation, he was trying to do that to me. I wasn't having it. And he was like super eager to go through the insurance. And I'm like, no, no, this was our trip. We damaged the cars. I'll write you the check. Like, I don't want to make an insurance claim on it. I just want to pay you for if you give me legitimate invoices. And I questioned the other invoices, but for $30,000, I wasn't going to argue because we did rent like 8 or 9 cars. So a couple $1,000 a car here, bumper, windshield, whatever. And since this was done as a service for the customer, I had to deal with all of this. This isn't something I could shell off onto the customer. They were paying for the service, even though he was a friend, to put on this event. So I had to deal with all the back end behind it of anyone trying to screw us or anyone trying to do anything after the fact. So it all fell on me. And luckily for me, it did, because he probably just would have paid it and walked away. I wasn't having it. We actually also burnt one of his Lamborghinis down in the desert too. Not that we did it. He was able to get that covered under warranty. But we were driving in Utah, and next thing you know, the one Lamborghini's smoking, and we're in the middle of the desert with flames coming out of the back of the Lamborghini Huracan. It was a Huracan Evo. I was like, oh, what do we do now? Luckily, somebody came along in the camper van, and we extinguished it, so he was able to bring it to the dealership and get that warranted. But it's not like we did anything. You're just driving down the road and the thing catches fire. But it was quite the trip for us. And luckily, when we got to Zion, he brought us a replacement car for that. Wasn't equivalent, but at least we had another pair of seats to drive. So Diplomat, when I looked into it, he has a dealership and he just runs the dealer inventory through the rental company and then sells the cars. So he's like doubling up. We're getting paper plates on half these cars. There may have been some cars that were part of the rental fleet, but it was a straight up gypsy operation.
We'd like to thank Glossit for supporting the VINwiki channel this month, and right now Glossit is offering the best DIY ceramic coating package that we've ever seen or certainly offered here on VINwiki. For just $69.99, you're going to get their graphene ceramic coating along with the Real Difference Maker, their ceramic detail spray. Now that's a $50 bottle of spray detailer that I truly love just for daily use, but when you use that alongside their graphene ceramic coating, it makes the removal a lot easier, the outcome a lot smoother, you avoid high spots and things like that. So a DIY idiot like me in my own garage can achieve an outcome pretty similar to what Rich and his team were able to do last year on the Paris Hilton SLR, which I eventually torture tested on rallies and road trips and all this stuff, and it is now in Bulgaria, still looking wonderful. So check it out now at the link in the description below. There's a very limited quantity, so respond now and get yours for just $69.99. Thanks, Glossit.